Alright, here we go. One replacement clutch slave cylinder. It's non-standard. It's an OEM part. It should have that on actually. That's how it comes. That's all you get. If I'd known I didn't get the bolts, then I would have bought the bolts as well, just to renew them, like I do with everything on the Land Rover that I replace generally. I'm not sure if mine's leaking or not. It doesn't show any signs of leaking, but it's that old. I just think something inside internally has failed on it, so I'm going to replace it as a matter of course. I'm also going to replace the master cylinder, which I'll do later on. I'm doing them both together just because I'm going to have to drain the hydraulic fluid out anyway, so rather than do it twice. And they're both the same age. Neither of these have been replaced, the master or the slave. So first up, the lower one, which looks to be the easier one to do. Now you have to remember, it does have an orientation on this thing. That's the bleed nipple, which needs to go on the top, the high side, the highest point, so it can bleed. And this is where you're going to put, that's actually a cover at the moment, but there is going to be a copper pipe like you'd get on your brakes. That's going to screw into there. I'm going to leave that on to the last possible moment. I've got some grease here. I'm going to pack this out, more specifically the cap. I'm going to pack this out with a bit of grease to prevent water ingress and just protect it a little bit more. Alright, hopefully that should be enough grease in there. Put them back together. And I'm showing this off the vehicle now because it's quite difficult to film. It's quite hard to access as regards getting the camera in there. Hopefully I'll get some kind of image for you to look at. But generally it's 2 bolts, and you'll see I've already loosened all these things off. I sprayed them overnight with penetrating fluid and just cracked them off just to make sure I could do it last night. So it should be straightforward for this going straight back on, hopefully. The top one you need an extension bar to get at when you're taking it off, and the bottom one you can actually just do with a general spanner. No socket required on that one. Access isn't too bad. This was really tight as well on mine, the actual pipe going in for the hydraulics. I was able to crack that off as well. It was really tight. I was worried about breaking that, but I seem to have got it loose. So I'll show you where this actually goes on the vehicle as best as I can from inside the engine bay. Right, here we go, left hand side of the vehicle. You can see where I'm going to try and film from, where I've got the GoPro, but there is the one that we're going to take off, just underneath that lot, and I am going to access it from underneath. right, so you need to leave this rod in and clean this surface down. That surface is pretty good on mine. Just give it a light rub down later on. And I'm going to check the fluid later on. I think that's the original fluid from, I've never renewed the clutch fluid, so I don't know how old that is. Whoa, hands are cold, that's not helping. So I've managed to tighten up the 10mm bolt at the bottom and the one at the top. It's quite hard to push this in. You could do with someone pushing it and then someone putting the bolt in, but managed it on my own in the end. I put the banjo kind of setup on. I put the hydraulic line on before I put these bolts in situ, and I've just got this thread started. It makes it a lot easier. So this is started, but you can see it's dripping, it's not tightened up yet. I'm just going to nip that up. That's slow going because of the access, so I put as many turns as I possibly could whilst it was unbolted from this. So I've got it started, got it lined up, and I just need to nip it up, which is going to be a laborious process because you can only get a really small turn on this each time because of access, but that's it pretty much in. So this is the one that's come off. It doesn't look too bad. It's got the normal wear and tear considering where it is on the vehicle. I think there's some kind of failure possibly inside, either in this one or the master cylinder. That's why I'm renewing them both. But looking at that, doesn't look too bad. You never know what's inside. I mean, it's old enough to have failed inside. So hopefully renewing this and the master will cure my dodgy gear changes.